Hello, besties! Welcome to Martinez with Eddie, your ultimate destination for everything Bravo. Join me as we spill the tea, dissect the drama, and uncork the juiciest gossip from your favorite reality TV shows. Guys, I have had a long ass weekend. It's been really stressful. After I interviewed Jennifer Aydin last week, it became the topic of conversation between people who just like to hate. When I posted it on my Twitter, I got bombarded by hate, literal hate, left and right. People were just being extremely nasty, very personal, and there was like people just attacking my character and even trying to find dirt on me, going on my personal Instagram. It was something that I had never experienced, and I've been doing this for a very long time. You guys have been People who have been following me know that I've been doing this for almost like 2 years now. Posting on Twitter, commenting about Housewife and Bravo shows and stuff like that. This is the first time that people went to the extent to look on my personal Instagram. I got messages of hate. I got some lady with purple hair who stream her podcast or whatever she does from her bathroom, attacking my character and trying to, you know, make a mockery of her very problematic tweets. Then I have to deal with the fact that Bravo decided to take down my episode with Jennifer Aydin from all my streaming platforms, my YouTube channel, my podcast. It was it was really really upsetting, you guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was very disappointed, but I want to share with you this story because at the end of the day, if you do the right thing, people are gonna fight for you. People are gonna go the extent to always do the right thing by you. So stick around with me and listen to the story because you're not gonna believe what happened today. So the day of the interview, that night, I received a phone call from Jennifer Aydin. I was already I was already in bed. It was really late at night. Uh, yes, yes. That's what I'm going. Mama, that's what I'm going. I want to tell the story so people know exactly how it went. I was confused for a second. I was like, what happened? Oh my gosh. One of my viewers just let me know that the video is back up. Um, this is what happened. The day of the interview, um, everything was fine. Everything was great. We were having a great time. The interview went amazing. For those who haven't watched the interview, I personally was focused on Jennifer Aydin. I did not want to ask her about Melissa. I did not want to ask her about Margaret Joseph. I wanted to know everything about Jennifer Aydin. That was my goal as a podcaster. I wanted to focus on her life, obviously, because she's on a show where she has to interact with a cast. We talked about the cast very briefly. So, for those who watched the episode, I know you guys were extremely shocked when the video was down, when the audio was gone. Um, yeah, it was intense. So, this is what happened. That night, I received a phone call from Jennifer Aydin, and I was asleep. Right? I'm an old man, even though I still go out and party once in a while. I was exhausted because I was already dealing with the hate of simply inviting Jennifer Aydin to my podcast. I don't even know why people are so entitled to tell me how to run my podcast, how to run my social media, which, by the way, I do not care how many times you come on my Twitter to tell me that I'm biased, because the fuck I am. It's my Twitter, it's my podcast. I talk about the people that I like, I talk about people that I don't like, because it's my opinion. It's an opinion based Twitter account. I'm not your CNN. I'm not the news. I'm not whatever, People's Magazine, or even those gossip blogs and stuff are biased. So stop thinking that those are news outlets, because they are going to talk about the people they like in a good light, and the people they don't like in a bad light. So let's keep it real here. So I get people telling me that I should invite Margaret Joseph or Melissa to my podcast. And I'm like, hell the fuck no, because they have their own platforms. They have their own podcast, like Melissa Gorga, and she has her friends from all their social media talking about her in a good light. So the fuck no, I'm not gonna invite them, because they are not people that I'm interested on getting to know. I invite to my podcast people that I like, people that I know I'm going to have a great conversation with, people that I know that at the end of the day I can hang out with at BravoCon, at Bravo events, even who knows, maybe outside Bravo stuff. Because the point of me creating this platform is continue growing in my career. For those who don't know, I'm a photographer, I'm a videographer. I went to college for film and photography and TV. So I do have a TV background. So for me, it's more important to create connections and relationship with people that I feel like I can connect in different level of my life. I'm not interested for the clickbait. I'm not interested on trying to bait people into saying stuff. Like, there is a Instagram account run by some lady. I'm not gonna say her name because I'm pretty sure you will know who I'm talking about, who complained about Louis, messaging her in her DMs. But then we found out that this lady took the time of the day to try to engage on a conversation with Louis beforehand. She messaged Louis. She went and told him about how she was such a great friend of Lisa Rinna and how she was loyal and blah, blah, blah. She herself said that she was doing it so he could tell her about like the smear campaign that he was having against Margaret, which, by the way, that is so crazy that a viewer, a so-called content creator, which I don't believe, because he doesn't create a damn thing, took time of their day to try to bait a Bravo lab. This lady that I'm talking about, the lady that runs a Instagram account like Your Mama Is Watching or whatever, she's not related to Margaret. She's not in any form connected to the show. So she's trying to insert herself. And when Louis replied to her, like, why you just do something with your life that is good, she felt threatened and like the victim. So, lady, if you don't want to be talked to, do not engage in a conversation first. That is on period. So what I'm trying to say is, do not tell me how I should run my social media. Because the amount of hate that I got for inviting a housewife that I love and admire to my own podcast was insane. The amount of comments about my look, about my family, people telling me that I should drop that on comments on Twitter. Like, I do not care because I have a thick skin. I don't pay attention to the hatred that much. But I was just thinking like, oh my gosh, this is just because I'm doing what I love to do. And you know what? Haters are gonna hate. They probably are sitting in their house being so upset that they are doing nothing with their lives. And they just want to tear somebody down because I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And this is not my job. This is not how I pay my mortgage. This is not how I pay my car payments. This is not even how I get gas money. I get $0 from doing this. Zero. So for these people who are telling me how to run it, you can go and kick rocks. I do not care. Anyways, so that day, I just wanted to get that out of my chest. I think it was necessary. uh, but that day, in the morning, when I noticed that Jennifer Aydin had tried to call me the night before, I text her and I said, Jennifer, I saw your missed call. I'm free all day. Please let me know what happened. I always have this idea that if she tried to reach me was because something needed to be changed on the podcast. I was like, oh no, I already had that feeling. Then I get the message saying, Eddie, you need to take Jennifer Aydin's podcast down. And I was disappointed. I feel like, Jennifer and we've been trying to have this conversation for a very long time. We've been talking about it for a very long time. And she was excited that finally, after the reunion air, she was quote unquote able to go on different podcasts and speak her mind. Well, surprise, surprise, production decided to change the gag order and make it indefinitely until they cast for the new show. Which, by the way, if they do that, if they extend the gag order onto the point of casting, that means that she wouldn't be able to speak to me. You know why? Because when the gag order is down after casting, that's when they are not allowed to talk to the public, because that's when they start filming. So Bravo Labs, who are on Bravo shows, they have a period of time where they can talk to podcasters and whatever. That's when they are not filming, right? Or there's no new project coming. The only time the Bravo Labs can talk to podcaster while the show is airing is when we reach out to Bravo talent department. That is another thing that I want to explain to people. A lot of people said on my comment, on my post that I took down the episode, people were saying, you don't work for Bravo. Why is Bravo telling you to take it down? This is a lie. You're lying. No. I might not be affiliated to Bravo or NBC Universal. I'm not. I'm not getting paid by them or anything like that. So, if I want to invite a Bravo Lab to my podcast, as you guys know, I had several by now. I had Bali from Family Karma. I had Lucia from Southern Hospitality. I had Aja from Real Girlfriends in Paris. I had John Barlow from Salt Lake City. For me to get these Bravo Labs on my show, I need to contact their PR, which is the talent department at Bravo. So I might not be employed by Bravo. But if I want to continue bringing Bravo Labs to my podcast, I have to, com- you know, comply and be mindful that I do not want to burn any bridges in the process. So when I got that message saying, Eddie, the gag order is still active, you need to take that down. We don't want any negative information of the housewife of New Jersey out in the public light unless we release it. So I said, okay. I did not question it. I did not say anything. When they asked me to do it, I said, okay. Because for me, it's more important to keep that relationship with Bravo and keep that relationship with Jen. And I also did not want me being stubborn and question stuff to affect Jennifer in the show, her contract or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I don't want to be that person. I appreciate that Jennifer took the time to come on my show and we created a bond. I mean, she's been so amazing. And I'm going to go to the point where I explain how amazing Jennifer Aydin has been for me. So when I got that message and I took it down, Jennifer called me. She didn't have to. She didn't have to call me because I already replied to her message saying I got the message, whatever. She called me and said, Eddie, I'm so sorry. I was not aware that the gag order was still on. It was supposed to be over when the reunion aired. The gag order is very public. This is not like a secret. We all knew about it. I think everybody has been paying attention. Obviously, I was upset, not with Jen or with Bravo, but knowing that other people in the cast, aka Melissa Gorga, got away with everything because she has her own podcast. And she talks about the show nonstop. And she uses her platform to talk about Teresa, to talk about Jennifer, to talk about Teresa's daughter, to talk about Louis. And nobody can say anything because she has her own podcast. Well, guess what? I told Jennifer, Jennifer, if they can't let you speak to anyone, you should create your own podcast. You should create your Jennifer Aydin show podcast or whatever you want to call it. And she laughed. She laughed. She thought it was a really interesting idea. Well, that day I was depressed. I posted on Twitter. I got bombarded with hate, but I also got bombarded with love. And when I posted, I said, you guys, I see you, I hear you. Please know that I know who's been on my side. Please, and I read the comments and I know who's been nice to me and somebody who's been supportive. Mia Carla from New York, you're always here showing me love. K Mama, I have Rachel here too. I mean, I appreciate you all because I know you guys have been here for me, and even with my stupid comments, I appreciate you guys. I know who's been there. I know your account. I see when you post. I see when you comment. I started to get to know who's always on the good side, and those who troll me, I can call them out too. I call out a couple of people and I told them to go fuck themselves. You know? So I was depressed, I was sad, I was stressed out. I was like, oh my gosh, all this work. So there you have it. That's the reason. I do not want people to take this and think that it was because something that Jennifer said. No, they just didn't want anything. Jennifer herself said, I spoke to producers that day, and I was like, there was nothing negative. There was nothing. There was extremely dangerous. There's nothing that it crossed the line. It was fun. It was entertaining. It was about her life, and obviously we talk about BravoCon, and that's it. And that was the end of it. Fast forward. I was coming on this podcast today. Like I told you guys on Saturday. I want you guys to know the story. Well, this is the story. This is what happened. Jennifer was so nice to me that day. She called me. She was like, "I'm so sad. I don't know what to do. I really want to help you. I don't know what else to do. Uh, it's just not fair. It's not fair for me as a content creator. It was not fair because I spent hours of my day tweeting about Bravo, talking about Bravo. We all get here and sit down and talk about it, enjoy the shows and stuff like that. This is not financially helping me at all. Actually, it helps Bravo because we are promoting their shows. We are talking about their shows. We are pushing the narrative that we see on the show by just giving our opinion. So I was disappointed with the whole thing because I'm like, does Bravo even care that we take our time of the day to do this kind of stuff, to sit down here in front of you guys and talk about shows and stuff? No, right? Well, today, as I'm getting ready you know, to come on here with my story of how the gag order for New Jersey was extended, and Melissa was getting away with stuff because I guess that's a way for housewives to say their minds and not being attached to a gag order. I got a message from Jennifer Aydin. And she said, are you free? Can I call you? And I said, yes, I am free. I get informed that she went the extra mile for me. She went to war for me. She didn't have to. She could have just let it be. I mean, I don't think my little podcast is gonna make a huge difference at all, but it really means a lot to me. She went the extra mile and she brought some good points to production. She said, like, why is Eddie a podcaster, a fan who takes the time to invite me to the show, and he has to suffer this like really awful experience of having his own podcast removed when there's people out there getting away with stuff, right? And after a long conversation, she said, after I was telling her, like, this is not okay. Um, there was nothing bad about it, and the other people, you know, the other people have like podcasts and they talk about it, and nothing happened to them. So production went ahead and said, okay, you can tell Eddie to put back his podcast back on. And that's the news of the day. After 2 days of me being depressed, I got those news. And I know a lot of people, especially the haters, are gonna be like, "That's a lie. Um, that's a publicity stunt." Actually, that's what people were saying already. On my comment from Saturday, they were saying this is like a way for you to get people. No, let me explain you one thing. I had to delete my podcast from every single platform. So people who listen to it already, they're not gonna listen to it again. So my algorithm, my analytics for my podcast went like up and down because all those people who listened to it got erased from my analytics. So basically, it's just like I start from zero. I just uploaded. It's back on Apple. It's back on Spotify. It's back on all the stuff. So those people who haven't been able to listen to it, this is your chance. It's up, and let's pray that nothing happens and nothing changes. Um, it is a blessing, and this is why I comply from the beginning. I'm not saying that by me saying okay, I took it down immediately that made any change. What I'm saying is I think the fact that I didn't make it a big deal and say okay made Jen more comfortable to go into war for me. I am so grateful for Jen right now. I was like I was about to cry with the phone because she didn't have to at all. Like why would she take time off her day to go and defend my episode and my little podcast and respect my time this way? Because that's what it is. It shows that she respected my time, the time that I took to interview her, the time that I took to create, the advertisements and invite people and stuff. She respected my time, and I respect her time obviously because as soon as they told me take it down, I took it down, and the main reason was because I didn't want anything to affect her directly. So there you have it. People might say really negative stuff about Jennifer Aydin on the show. I'm going to say this with full hand on my heart. No one, no one has done this for me. Like any guest or anything. And shows the type of people that she is. Not the person that people paying her to be on the show. I want to know if those people who support the other people will be able to say the same thing if something like this happened. I wonder if the other couch will take time of their day to go to war for a fan. Just saying. So there you have it. That was the story. That was the reason why. And that's how today I found out that I can put it back up. So, for those of you guys who are not watching it yet or listen to it, it's back on YouTube and back on my podcast on every single platform. You can tell your friends and stuff like that. I want to move on from Jersey. Also, I want to say this. Jersey is over. Jersey it's wrapped and I'm going to move on unless there's like a big news about it. I don't think my mental health will take another weekend like the one that I had. I'm going to keep doing what I do. Everybody knows what I do. I do recap for shows. I tweet live about shows. I bring funny tweets. I bring you the news that I see. I bring Bravo Labs. I bring content creators to my show. Just know that whenever I see something that is worthwhile talking about Jersey, I will. But it's been a lot, and I want to say this because a lot of people say, "Oh, the Teresa fans, the Tree Stumps are crazy. The Tree Stumps do this. The Tree Stumps do that." Well, guess what? Um, you might want to check on the other one's fans too because those were crazy. The stuff that I was said over the weekend, the stuff that people were leaving on my social media were nuts, nuts. So please, I don't wanna, I don't wanna hear the three stumps. We are crazy because I had never gone on other people's Instagram or Twitter and say the kind of shit that I was told to over the weekend. Just wanna say that. Whew. I I I wanna start pivoting a little bit to Orange County. I'm just gonna make a couple of comments about Orange County because it just how do you guys feel about Orange County? I'm enjoying it. It feels like old school Orange County, but the past episode was fun, but I feel like I get lost. Like my attention is not like into it, or maybe we just begun watching the show, so I'm not really sure. One thing that I'm gonna say though, that this cast this season it's more cohesive and more fun than last season. The newbie, Jen, I really like her. I really like her in the way that at least she it's bringing a little more than the Jen from last season. This season we have a Jen that is all about yoga. That's her personality. And then last season we have a Jen all about plastic surgeries and stuff like that because she was like a cosmetologist or whatever she is. I like her dynamic. I'm very kind of like confused by her um, relationship with her ex. I'm still confused and I want to get to know her a little more. Her story about adopting the kid is actually really, really, really interesting. It's really interesting, and we get to see a little bit of the beginning of her issue with Shannon Bedore. I love Shannon. Shannon is like one of those people that are fun to hang out with. When I met her at BravoCon last year, she was so kind, so kind. She was stopping to take picture with people as she was walking to her panel, and she was actually even wearing the same outfit that she wore for the cast photo for this season, which is really funny. One thing that I am enjoying this season is this new renaissance of um, Gina as a California sober. I agree, Mia. I think Gina feels a little bit like a filler. So is Emily. I think Emily brings a little more right now. Maybe it's just the beginning of the show, but I appreciate Gina's newfound California sober lifestyle. She kept talking about how she changed drinking, you know, for just smoking pot and whatever. And that's cool. I'm here for it. I'm all for it. I actually posted a photo because Shannon, um, Heather, and Gina posted a picture on Instagram from that party that they were having. they had the flamingo thing, or no, it wasn't from the flamingo. It was from the day before, or what, or the week before, because that Gina had COVID, so she couldn't go to the party. They posted a picture of them holding some different products, and Shannon is holding these gummies called Camino, and those are the same gummies that I get. I got the same ones, and I posted on Instagram saying like, "Hey, I use the same product as Shannon." I think one of the kind of like moments during the last episode that I liked was when Tamra was talking about closing her, you know, gym, cut fitness, Eddie's baby. Because I mean, I'm still very on the fence with Tamra coming back, and obviously with her fight with Teresa for no reason, I'm still like, eh. But I mean, Tamra has been part of the OC for a very long time, so it feels kind of familiar. It feels kind of like makes sense. But it's kind of sad to see her closing that chapter of her life. And Eddie seems very depressed. She said it herself that that was like Eddie's baby. I'm so sad for Gina though that she got COVID before the party, because I think it's the first time that Gina has like a fancy type of event during her whole entire time on the show, and she gets sick. It's like the universe is saying, "No, Gina, you're not going. You're not going to your fancy party. You're not gonna go the flamingo party. You're staying home." I was more confused and kind of like concerned by how long that boardwalk to get to the boat was. I'm like, are they doing this on purpose? What's happening here? Like literally the whole launch shot of the boardwalk, while when Shannon was walking, and then when Taylor was walking, I'm like, this seems so long and so unnecessary. It was like, I don't know, it was a full workout, but I'm happy to see Taylor back. Honestly, I was expecting Taylor to be a full-time housewife for Orange County. I think after the whole like whistles and hype that she got for being the first housewife to move from one city to another one, from Beverly Hills to Orange County, I wish she actually was a orange holder. I was expecting it. I love Taylor. I love Taylor. I like her a lot on Beverly Hills. I love seeing her back on Ultimate Girls Trip. So I'm happy that she's making her way back into the Bravo universe. Um, I really hope to see her at BravoCon. She's one of the Beverly Hills ladies from like the OG times that I really want to like say hello and what's not. So seeing her back on Orange County seems fitting. I love how she's introduced. It was like a big moment. It was a simple scene, but it was a big moment. You see Heather saying like, "I know that laugh. I know who that is," and it was Taylor. Um, Honestly, you guys, I do believe that having different housewife jumping from one city to another one makes so much sense now, because before, if you guys remember, before many years ago, housewives pretended not to know each other. I mean, they knew each other. They knew who they were. They work on the same network. They went to parties together, but during production, during filming, it was like each city was a little bubble. So nobody could leave that little bubble. So seeing that bubble kind of like being eliminated, and housewife making like appearances at all the cities and interacting with housewife in a way that we didn't see before, I really, really like it. I think Ultimate Girls Trip opened the door for this to happen. Like for example, we have Candace on Atlanta for one episode. We have Taylor now as a full time on as a friend of on Orange County, and I really want to see how it does for Beverly Hills because as we know, Cynthia from Atlanta made an appearance. We see Larsa from Miami also making an appearance. Uh, Obviously, we see many faces, many familiar faces from Beverly Hills in the past, making their way back in the show, like Camille, Denise Richards. I think John Mellencamp's daughter to make an appearance as well, which I'm not excited about. I'm not a big fan of her, as you guys know. But I do like what they're doing. Yes, Phaedra was on Dubai, and now Phaedra, like Mia Carl is saying, she is now part of Married to Medicine. So I'm loving this, you guys. I don't know about you guys, but I think this makes the Bravo universe more interesting because let's be honest, we all know these women know each other. They work together, you know? I don't know. I just get excited when I see familiar faces making their way back into the show. There was a moment on that boat ride that I was frustrated with, and it was the fact that people were trying to blame Shannon for not listening to Jen's story. And obviously, Tamra was so quick to make it about herself. Like, they are in this boat, and Jen is telling the story of how she adopted her kid, and Shannon is talking to Heather, and they're drinking. So honestly, you can't expect people to pay attention to very deep conversation when you are drinking, you know, and on a boat that is probably super loud, and you can tell that Shannon wasn't not paying attention because she was being rude, but was because she didn't know what was happening, you know. And even Emily said it on one of her confessions, like I'm pretty sure Shannon had no idea what was happening. And then obviously Tamra, I mean, I don't know, this whole fight with Shannon is feels so produced though. It doesn't make any sense in a way that um like did they even have an argument before, or is it just me, or what? I mean, I didn't know that Shannon and Tamra were in such a bad place. And it seems like the only one who was in a bad place by herself was Tamra because Shannon has said it many times, like, I don't even know what she's so mad about. Because the one who was talking shit was Tamra in every single podcast and stuff that she was able to get on, you know? And the fact that Tamra was calling Shannon an alcoholic or like a drunk on the boat, I think it just it's like trying really hard to fight with Shannon. Like there's no reason for this argument to be going on for such a long time and for nothing. That's the reality. It's giving produce. It's giving like Tamra needed a an excuse to be back on the show. That's what I got from the first episode when she was talking about the reason why she feels like her friendship with Shannon is different this year. I was like, is it though, or do you need like a storyline to get back into the show? I don't know. Honestly, do not know. That is OC. OC is, I mean, I'm enjoying it. I don't know about you guys, but I'm enjoying OC just because it's so petty, so petty. Like, there's no like an ounce of like heaviness about it. And I think we need we need this. We need a break from heavy topics. We need a break from any type of drama that is gonna cause another New Jersey or another Beverly Hills like we had last season. Like we needed to keep it petty. I like my housewives. I like my housewives to be petty and rich. When I say petty, it's like drama that is so nonsensical. Is that even a word? I don't think so. Uh, uh, it's such a like vain, petty drama. Like remember when we used to watch Housewives for for that, just like rich people problems, like really wealthy people's problem that nobody else have, and and we laugh about it, and then we moved on. But like nowadays, it's like it's such a deep rooted issue that maybe it's just the way that people takes such such personal stuff, and like I don't know, they take everything so personal. Like please, it's just a show. Even the people involved in the shows tell the fans, remember, these are shows. It's not that deep. Obviously, we are going to get involved in some kind of stuff because it's part of the magic of being a Bravo holic. But there has to be a limit. I'm just saying. Let's talk about Vanderpump Rules real quick. We got a extra episode called The Secret Reveal. I don't want to get too much into it because I'm kind of like done with Vanderpump Rules too. I'm happy that Ariana is moving on and shining and thriving, and that's all I want for her. I don't want to keep milking the cow of the Vanderpump Rules story because it seems like a lot of people keep talking about it because they want clicks and all this stuff. I just want to mention two things. And there was a moment with Katie that even if you don't like Katie, you needed to feel something for her. There was a moment when she said like, I'm gonna read it like verbatim. She said, "I feel happier now because I given myself permission to be. I get to just be myself now and do things for myself and make myself feel happy. And I'm not waiting for someone to come home." When Katie said those words on her confessional, I felt so, so sad for her and happy at the same time. Because you can tell right there that she was trying so hard to maintain this relationship with Swords for a very long time, and he never had her back. So I'm happy for Katie. That's one. The other part that I want to talk about, it's Scandable or Scumdable or Sandoval. First off, line that he didn't see Rachel for days, and production posted a picture uh, of them being out and about earlier that on the day when he said that he hadn't seen her. That's one thing. You know, they were lying for a very long time. That's why I have no sympathy for Rachel. I do not care. People can say whatever they want. She was in the mess. She is an adult and she was lying left and right to cover up this affair. I'm not saying that she is the one to blame because the one in that relationship was Tom Sandoval, but Rachel was there to keep pushing the lie. So please spare me the sympathy. I'm not giving none. Um, and then the other one is when Ariana is talking to Sandoval after they go roller skating, and she said to him verbatim, "Well, I wouldn't trust Rachel around my man." I'm like, she was saying that somebody said like I wouldn't trust Rachel around my man, and she was saying like I like Rachel, I trust her, and you can tell the Sandoval is so uncomfortable that he even raised his eyebrow, And I even captured that moment. I took a picture of that moment because it was so foreshadowing and telling that he was, you know, a piece of garbage. Like right there in that moment, his life fell apart. Like he couldn't even keep a straight face. And Ariana did not know in that moment. But now that we know, that's that's what it is. It was crazy to watch. And some of the stuff that we watched during this reveal episode is like secret reveal episode. I feel like they should have put it on the show, like the actual show, because it put so many stuff in perspective. But I guess that's why they do it for us to keep watching the show. Now I want to talk about Atlanta. Which, by the way, I want to say something real quick. I'm watching Project Runway, and I haven't done a recap about it, and I'm going to be watching it. I love Project Runway. Project Runway, it's one of the first shows that I watched on Bravo back in the day when it was Project Runway and Queer Eye from the Stray Guy, way before Housewives. Um, and I'm excited that they have an all-star season. I want to ask you guys, um, if you guys are watching or listening, I want to ask you, do you want me to give you my opinion on it? I have a fashion background, so I understand fashion. I'm not really good at sewing. I have like zero experience on sewing, but I can sketch and I can do all this stuff. So when I watch the show, I've been watching the show for a very long time, and it's one of my favorite Bravo shows. So I'm thinking that maybe I should add like a little segment for Project Runway on my next episode. I can just like talk about the upcoming show and talk about the fashion. Maybe just kind of like really quick give my opinion on the contestant. Uh, Let me know if you're interested. I'm thinking about it. I didn't prepare anything today for Project Runway because I think there's way too much going on in the Bravo universe, and especially with my weekend with the podcast, I didn't want to go like overboard with like too many shows. But yeah, let me know if you guys want to talk about Project Runway. If you watch it and if you want me to talk about it, I'm here for it because I love that show. Atlanta. Let's talk about Atlanta real quick. There's one thing that I am loving about Atlanta this season, and it's the fact that as the season is going on, it's becoming like more dramatic. I still believe the Marlo's drama with Candy makes zero sense. None whatsoever. It keeps looking like she wanted Candy to pay for the funeral, and Candy's like, why would I do that? Like, what is that? I was so sad to see Candy breaking down when she was talking to Sonia about her brother. When Candy said, like, I lost my brother when I was 15, so I have to learn how to move on. You can hear in her voice how raw and real that was for her. Like, that was not produced. That was not just like for a reality TV show moment. That was emotional, you know, trauma that she was holding on inside. And she was about to break down. So I still do not understand where is this issue with Marlo. Like, what is her problem? Like, what she wants from Candy? We already watched that little clip from like last week when production showed like a flashback from like back in the day when Marlo told Candy, and Candy was very, very sympathetic to her. But that's it. What else she wants? Like she want Candy to pay for the funeral for like the guy, and why Marlo doesn't pay for it? Why Marlo doesn't pay for it? You know, that's my question. One thing that I loved about this whole Gucci party is that they all looked so good. They all looked good. But you gotta leave it to Kenya to walk into a Gucci party with a Chanel bag. You know, Kenya is gonna do what Kenya wants, and I love her. There was a moment with Kenya during the show where she goes to the doctor to check if there's any chance for her to have another baby. And I really want that for her. I mean, obviously, the doctor was very clear, saying like, "Hey, you are at an age where it's dangerous," and it's true. Like the older you get, the more risk a pregnancy becomes. You know, blood pressure get higher quicker. There's more risk. Uh, you know, so for you ladies who are listening, you know, you gotta plan ahead about your pregnancy. I mean, I'm not saying that you have to get pregnant when you're in your 20s. That's very old school. Nobody needs that. Go enjoy your life in your 20s. Go have fun, travel the world. Having a kid is a responsibility that is going to take away a lot of your own life. So, have your kids in your 30s, maybe late 30s. So you have enjoy your 20s, you know, enjoy your time. So that's what I like about Kenya. You know, you can tell that she has had a very successful life before she became a mother. But the doctor is right. I hope Kenya takes in consideration the fact that she is at an age that it could cause a lot of problems for her to have a child. And those kind of topics of conversation on a show, I appreciate because I'm 100% sure that there's a lot of people out there that can relate to that. And those relatable type of conversations and topics make reality TV more interesting. You know, you can see yourself in it. I'm pretty sure a lot of ladies were watching this moment and thinking, I was in that place. I was thinking that too. My doctor told me the same thing. You know, you feel connected in a deeper level with the reality TV star. There was a huge fight between Kenya, Marlo, and Candy and Drew, and everybody was going hard because Marlo was trying to imply that she is easy to forget about stuff, and and Kenya was saying like she was choking on the BS. Kenya was activated on this episode against Marlo, and I liked seeing it because somebody needs to let her know. Somebody needs to put her on her place. It's been many episodes already, and the only thing that she's talked about is Candy. The only thing that Marlo has talked about this whole entire time has been Candy. And on a situation that Candy had no power over. Once again, I don't know what Marlo's goal is with this, but it feels like she's trying to hurt Candy's businesses. It feels very targeting. It's like she's targeting Candy for something that she has no responsibility at all. And it's becoming repetitive. It's becoming the same thing over and over again. And as a viewer, I like my topics to move forward, especially when they are not going anywhere. truly, this is not going anywhere. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because Marlo might feel like Candy needed to send flowers and pay for the funeral, but Candy's like, no, that's not my problem. And that should be it. That's the end of the conversation. Why are we having the same conversation every single weekend in different restaurants? Doesn't make any sense. But then we gotta remember that Marlo needs a storyline, and it seems like she has none. It seems like she depends on Candy to have a storyline. I really really liked the Gucci idea. You know, the ladies wearing Gucci and looking all dressed up in different Gucci styles. Even though Marlo was making fun of them and making silly comments, I do think that every single one of those girls brought it this weekend with the fashion. I like my housewife, rich, petty, and also fashionable. And Atlanta's giving me that. Atlanta always bring the pettiness and he always bring the fashion. And I'm just wondering where is this season going? Because it feels a little disjointed. If it doesn't feel like a cohesive cast or a cohesive ensemble, even though every single one of those girls are really good at what they do, I feel like I'm tuning in every weekend to watch the same conversation over and over and over and over again. And it's getting tiring, you know? Like, okay, we need some resolution, we need to move forward. And let's talk about Summer House Martha's Vineyard real quick. There was a moment that I want to highlight during last night's episode, and it's Jordan having a breakdown because she felt sexualized by the men in the house, especially Alex and Amir. A lot of people were saying that Jordan was overreacting, and I disagree 100%. Because you gotta remember one thing, especially ladies, men expect women to dress in some kind of way, to behave in some kind of way. And if they do not behave in those kind of ways, women are just meat, are just sexual toys, not a human being. And Jordan seems to be one of those women who have a very strong presence, and people will not expect her to have that very deep trauma from being on Playboy and stuff like that. I'm not saying that that is a problem because there is no issue with being on a Playboy magazine or whatever you do with your life. That's nobody's business. But sometimes the environment or the way that people perceive that about you can create really deep, deep trauma where you think that people are only interested on you because the way that you look, not what you bring to the table, not your worth as a person. And I'm saying that because I can relate a little bit to what Jordan went last night. I don't want to compare it because the way that women experience this kind of stuff is way different than we as men do it. And especially me as a gay man, it's a whole different field. But when I was in my 20s, I did a lot of like modeling, and I did underwear modeling and artistic nude modeling and stuff like that. You can easily Google it. I don't care. No, you're gonna find everything about me on Google. Trust me. You're gonna see it all. But no pornographic stuff though. Just want to make sure that wasn't porn. There's no porn out there about me. But yeah, I did modeling, and I did underwear modeling, and I did artistic nudes. So yes, you can find stuff out there. But when I did that kind of stuff, a lot of people around me and close to me only saw me as that, as this guy, the way that he looks, the way he works out all the time and all the stuff. So I felt very triggered by people's approach, to people's touch. I hate when people touch me out of like without respecting my personal space, because when I was doing that, people felt entitled to touch like my body, like whatever. And I created this like really like shield around me, so when people see me in public, I try to keep myself from like doing stuff. I even explained that to somebody on Twitter, because I posted a photo of me and Teresa's standing next to me, and my hands are in my pocket, and people are saying like, "Oh, you love a house where they wouldn't even hug you." I was like, "No." She wanted to hug me. I said to her like, "No, you don't have to. I like my personal space." Um, and she was fine with that. So I see where Jordan's trauma come from. Come from being looked at just a body, being looked at just you know as a Playboy bunny and stuff like that. And people think like, oh, she is exaggerating. She's like a pretty girl, and Amir was not trying to be um, offensive, and that's valid. Amir didn't have any intention to make Jordan uncomfortable, but his behavior and his comment were a trigger for Jordan's trauma. So what it stemmed from, right? It stemmed from that trauma. So maybe Amir was like being a gentleman or whatever, or maybe he was interested on her, but that was not how she perceived it, and that is valid. We have to understand that there is a difference between intention and feelings. Amir's intention were not to make her uncomfortable, but we need to validate Jordan's feeling, because that was based on her personal experience in life. You know, I'm just happy that at the end of it all, they got to talk, and he was very receptive of how she was feeling and the way that she was trying to explain to him why she was crying. She was okay with everything, and that's completely fine. There was another moment that I want to talk about, and it's Shanice. For 1 second, I want to say I like a girl who knows how to party, and Shanice looks like a fun, good time kind of girl. But that topless stuff from the balcony, that was quite a lot. And I'm saying this because some of those guys were in a relationship. Silas is married, and I don't know how other ladies will feel about a woman exposing her breast to like her husband. And you see how Bria reacted when Shanice was completely naked in the hot tub with Simon right next to her. So yeah, Shanice is fun, but she brought the drama and a lot of skin to these 2 episodes she was on. I like her. She's crazy in a way that is fun, not like too much. But God, I was laughing because I know for a fact that some of these guys were like trying to take a look, but they were probably looking the other way, so they weren't like caught looking her breast on national TV. So it might have been really uncomfortable. That was hysterical. And the last part that I want to mention about this episode is I love Summer House Martha's Vineyard because on each episode, there is always a little bit of Black history that we learn. You know, they always talk about something related to Black history that I, as a non Black person, have no idea. And I like to learn new stuff. On this episode, we learned the meaning of soul food and how soul food came to be. They explained that uh, back in the day when slaves used to be the chef and the cooks in in the white people's home, they will leave all the leftovers of like meat and stuff, like any leftover to the side, so they could make a dinner. And they said like the main ingredient for this dinner were the soul they put into it, the love they put into it. So that's how soul food came to be. And I was like, huh, I learned something new today because I did not know that. And it's also interesting to see that Amir is he's mixed, so he's only half black. So he has learned black history through this experience. He said it himself in one of the episodes, like he hasn't been too connected to the black community because he didn't grow up in a very black uh, community in Texas, you know? So I appreciate how he was like asking questions. He was very interested, and he always sat down whenever they're talking about it. He's like, "Oh, I learned something new today." So it's great to see that too on the show, that they are on vacation and they having a good time with each other, but they also learning from each other, and that's the beauty of life. You know, I like to pay attention to people's conversation when I'm having a conversation with somebody new, somebody that I just met. I like to listen, pay attention because you learn so much from people in the life just by listening. Like be part of the conversation, be involved, be present, and I'm sure you will learn so much from the people around you. Okay, you guys, that has been a long conversation, huh? A lot of freaking shows to talk about, and there's going to be more. We have Crappy Lake coming very soon. We also have Real Housewives of New York coming soon, which I'm excited about. I love this new cast. I know a lot of people are not very excited, but I am. I'm excited for fresh blood in this Bravo universe. And if you guys are enjoying this conversation, please go follow me on YouTube and subscribe to my podcast. You can find my podcast pretty much everywhere: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, any platform that you use to listen to your podcast. Martini with Eddie is there. Also, if you want extra tea, you can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram as Martini with Eddie. I always post extra tea on those platforms. If you want to check my merch, you can find it on my website, martiniswitheddie.com. And you guys, please, if you subscribe to my podcast, all I ask for is for you to leave a rate on it, because the way that we podcasters survive in this sea of creators is by your love, the love that you show us by rating us, because that helps us to be, noticed by people. Once again, thank you so much, you guys, and I hope we don't get any more dramatic news from Bravo. Like, we need a break. We need a break. I need a vacation. But for now, all I'm gonna say is bye, besties.